Hello and welcome to Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's a beautiful day and we are ready for the first pitch between the Michigan Wolverines and the Indiana Hoosiers in a crucial Big Ten matchup here in May. Today's starting pitchers are Cameron Weston for the Wolverines, and he will be opposed by Bradley Bremer, the 6'6" right-hander, senior for this squad, who struggled a little bit with a 5.88 ERA, but a 4-3 record, and they know they can rely on him. He's actually a Wright State transfer, and he's from Indianapolis, so he's playing for his hometown team. First pitch there from Weston, that's a strike, and the leadoff hitter for Indiana is center fielder Bobby Whalen, a sophomore sporting a .326 average. And he lines one into center field. It's going to get cut off in the gap by Joe Stewart and relayed back in. A little sloppy as the ball trickles to Matt Fry playing third base. He's on first, and Whalen is a dangerous runner. Stolen 21 bases. Kept off the stat sheet last night, but he'll be looking to run against a Michigan catcher in Jimmy Obertop, who has not had much success, throwing out just 6 of 40 runners this season. And there's a foul ball from Hunter Jesse, left-hander, the junior, sporting a .350 average, .470 on base. This guy can get on base, and he can do some damage with the bat as well. Takes low and outside, and that will even the count at 1-1. Hunter Jesse is the junior from South Lebanon, Ohio. Played in just 21 games last year, but has really come on for the Hoosiers this year. He's going to line one. That's out to Stewart in center. Comfortably makes the catch, but very solid contact for Jesse. He's been reliable, playing in 39 games this year and posting 42 hits and 120 at-bats. Includes 9 extra base hits. He'll pass it over to Josh Pine, third baseman, number 32, in red today. Weston looks in for the sign. Strike low in the zone, pitching out of the stretch with a dangerous runner on first. And it looks like Pine was taken all the way, trying to get a feel for Weston's stuff early in this game. That pitch in there for a strike. That's going to miss low there. Josh Pine, very patient hitter. Notice that he's got a .366 on base, goes his .309 average. That's 14 walks on the year. Although it's actually on the low end for these Indiana hitters, they love to work deep counts. And he's going to wave on that pitch right there. 77 miles an hour off speed, and Weston got him there. 2 quick outs, runner still on first, and Carter Matheson, the freshman with tremendous power, steps up to the plate. Matheson has 14 home runs on the year. Weston pitches inside to Matheson. That'll send it to 2 balls and 0 strikes. Excellent pitch right in the outside corner. 79 off speed. Matheson wasn't even thinking about it. All he could do was watch. Perfectly placed by Weston. And he's trying to fight back into this one with 2 balls and 1 strike on the hitter. Outside, a little fake by Whalen at first. Started to go, did not continue. And the count goes to 2-2 with a borderline call by home plate umpire John Coons. That pitch is outside, and the throw down as Whalen was running is not in time. Runner's now on second, full count, 2 outs for the star Matheson. He's got 41 RBIs, and there is a duck on the pond for him here. Weston's going to try to limit the damage in this early inning. That's really been an issue for him. But if he can get through, and that one is going to be just a little low. Matheson heads to first base, tossing the elbow guard. And Matthew Ellis, DHing today, everyday catcher, however, comes up to the plate, hits lefty, throws righty. He's a junior out of Walter State Community College in Tennessee. He was originally committed to the University of Tennessee, but he redshirted his freshman year, decided to head to community college for some more action, and transferred to Indiana in the fall. That's going to be high from Weston, lighting up with a little heat at 94 miles an hour. John Coons calls for time, granting it to Ellis as Weston stared in, shaking off his catcher a few times. Gets back on the rubber, and he's looking to throw here. And that's going to be lined into left center field. This could be extra bases. It's going to get to the wall. Joey Velasquez relays it in just a tad too late, and 2 runners are going to come home, with Whalen coming from second and Matheson hustling all the way from first. That's a huge knock for Matthew Ellis. Gets them on the board early, continuing Cameron Weston's early inning struggles. And leaving an opportunity for Tyler Dones, the transfer from West Virginia, to knock in another runner here. That's a strike in there from Weston. Off speed, 80 miles an hour. Gets it to 0-1. Needs to attack these Indiana hitters. They love to work deep counts, and they're very patient, especially a guy like Tyler Dones, who once posted a 900 OPS with West Virginia. And that was mainly off the strength of his 398 on-base percentage. So he can see the zone well. Tyler Dones has some speed. He's stolen 10 bases this year. And rarity in today's game, 31 walks to 30 strikeouts. He does whiff there, sending the count to 1-2. Dones asks for time, steps back in there, waving the bat, Weston out of the stretch. Two-seam fastball there, running inside, and it'll get Dones. That ends the top of the first, but Indiana has taken a 2-run lead. Let's see how Michigan can answer. Clark Elliott will be coming up first for the Wolverines, and he has been an absolute mainstay at the top of that lineup. He's 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, from Barrington, Illinois, lefty batter, righty arm, and he can smack the baseball. He's had some big games this year. Multi-hits versus Texas Tech, Xavier, Louisville. He can get 3 hits on any given day, and he brings the speed and power to go with it. That makes you believe that Michigan's never truly out of the game. He's got a .599 slugging percentage to go with a .459 on base, 11 stolen bases, 13 doubles, 2 triples, and 8 home runs, and 45 RBIs coming out of the leadoff spot. That's special. There's a reason this kid led the Cape Cod Collegiate Baseball League with a .344 average last year. He can absolutely play. One of the top MLB draft prospects in the Big Ten. Coaches rave about him. Eric Bakich will be sad to see him go. Of course, he has some formidable competition on the mound today in Bradley Bremer, the Wright State transfer. He's been around the block a few times. He knows how to pitch more than anything. He has struggled a little bit this year due to his .588 ERA in 9 starts, but he has eaten up 52 innings and given up 34 earned runs. The batting average against at .266, it's a question mark. It's not as good as the top of the rotation that we saw yesterday, but it's much better than the rest of this struggling Indiana staff has been able to accomplish. Some of these guys sporting batting average against in the mid-300s. Michigan would love to knock him out of the game early and send this into the bullpen, which has struggled recently, including last night as Michigan tacked on late runs in an 8-4 win over the Hoosiers. Number 15 in cream steps up to the plate. That is actually Michigan today, as Indiana is in the Road Reds. Michigan sporting some nice blue and yellow socks to go with an all-cream look. Numbers on the front and back, and Michigan across the jersey. Check swing on the first pitch to the Michigan right fielder, and he's going to foul it back. Digs back in, back foot toeing the line there, back to the batter's box. Foul ball off to the left side. He's staring at 0-2, but he is a tough customer in these counts. He knows how to work his way back. He's taken 28 walks to just 35 strikeouts. That's why his on base is as stellar as it is. You can never count him out. Never managed to pull that pitch down, did Bremer. Sailed over the top there. Nice grab by the catcher, who is Peter Ceruto, the backup. Light hitter, but excellent arm behind the plate. Once again, Bremer fails to pull that changeup down. Floats out a little high and outside, and evens the count up at 2-2 here. He doesn't want to give him a hittable pitch, and Elliott's right back in the count. Foul down the third base line and bouncing back out off the wall into left field. Protective swing there on a pitch that headed for the outside corner. Elliott lives to see another day on that fastball. Another fastball coming in on the hands, and he manages to turn on this one, sending it foul down the first base line. This is exactly what you want out of your leadoff hitter, wearing down the pitcher a little bit at the top of the first, and putting himself in position to get on base. Here comes the 2-2. And time called by Elliott as Bremer was into his windup. Let's see how he reacts to that. Elliott is making Bremer a little uncomfortable, but he goes right back to it and hits him in the knee with the next fastball there. Looks like he lost the grip a little bit, didn't get all of his speed onto it at just 86 miles an hour, and certainly looked like it slipped as it dove inside into Elliott's leg. Runner on first, and another excellent at-bat for Clark Elliott, who was a game changer last night, including a late 8th inning 2-run homer scoring Burton to take the final 8-4 lead. That's a strike down the middle on a fastball to Joe Stewart. Likes to watch that first pitch in. The transfer from Michigan State has got a .335 average, 9 home runs, 39 RBIs on the year. A pickoff attempt to first by Bremer is late. Elliott has been dancing around on this first couple pitch sequence, and he does have some serious speed. Working out of the stretch. Gets Stewart to wave on an off-speed pitch, diving outside, 84 miles an hour. Excellent pitch, and it goes to 0-2 on Stewart, who was named one of the most improved players on Michigan State's squad last year and has really taken the next step this year as the everyday center fielder for the Wolverines. Another pickoff attempt. Elliott slides into that back corner safely, and back to the rubber. Stewart digs in, tapping the plate with his bat, giving a couple of waves. Bremer looks over, gets in position, and picks off again. Unfortunately, unsuccessful for the Hoosiers. Elliott is jumpy out there, but he's keeping an eye on him, and he's not getting baited and leaving himself too far off the base. Bremer steps in and waves on the off-speed pitch there, diving down to the dirt. Stewart gave a little half-hearted swing there, trying to stay alive, could not get a piece of it, which brings up Matt Fry, the third baseman, sporting a .268 average, 8 home runs. Yesterday, of course, with the RBI double to lead off the scoring in the first for Michigan. He's been a serious force, including in the field. Made some terrific plays out there at the hot corner. Another pickoff attempt by Bremer. Elliott is not phased. Fry grounds a fastball foul there down the first base line. And steps back in versus Bremer. Fry is a graduate student who transferred in from Davidson. Takes high outside. He had an excellent career there with a 1,058 OPS in 69 plate appearances in 2020 before missing 2021 with a knee injury. He did come back for the start of the season, and he's looked terrific. Another pickoff attempt by Bremer. And Fry rips it into right field. That's going down the line. Elliott will head to third. Excellently cut off by the right fielder, Hunter Jesse, keeping Fry to a single. But that ball was sharply hit at 108.67 miles per hour on the exit velocity. He handled that fastball and sent it into a good place, away from the defense. Unlike his counterpart, Jesse, who unfortunately hit it straight to Joe Stewart. Sets up runners at the corners with just one out, and Jimmy Obertop come to the plate. Jimmy Obertop with an RBI single and a 2-run homer last night in back-to-back at-bats in the 5th and 7th inning. Tying the game up at first and then giving the Wolverines the lead. He takes right in the outside corner. Excellent placement on that fastball from Bremer. In a place where Obertop couldn't get to it, especially with his big swing. And Obertop takes a huge swing, takes him to a knee, but he whiffs, sending the count to 0-2. Obertop, of course, the 6'2", 230-pounder from St. Louis. All Big Ten third-team first baseman in 21 and shifted to catcher for this season. And he's going to chop one down the third base line, foul. Stays alive. Still can't seem to get a great read as he was out in front on that breaking ball. Obviously, all you want to do is stay alive, but he has looked a little uncomfortable. Bremer's mix of looks has thrown him off with pounding both the outside and inside part of the zone. An excellent pitch right on the outside corner. Gets called a ball and sends the count to 1-2. The Indiana dugout didn't like that call from home plate umpire Coons, but Bremer will dig back in for another pitch. Runner goes, and grounder to short. Takes out the double play. Obertop will be out at first, but the run comes home. Excellent hit and run job there by the Wolverines. Saved them from a likely double play and gets the run home. Good job by everyone involved. Elliott ready to go on contact. And, of course, Obertop did not sell out his runners there. Tito Flores comes to the plate. The junior sporting a .292 batting average with 10 home runs. An excellent summer player for Traverse City last year, the Pit Spitters of the Northwoods League. And an academic All-Big Ten candidate with a sport management major. He has been a key piece of this Wolverines offense. Bremer delivers. And lined into center. That's going to get down, and the run will score. That's an RBI single for Tito Flores, tying up the game at 2 runs apiece. And an excellent piece of hitting there. A breaking ball up in the zone, changeup rather, that hung a little too long, and he made sure to put it over the infielder's head and drop it in before the center fielder could get to it. Not the hardest hit ball, but it definitely well placed for the Wolverines. Here comes the pitch from Bremer, taken outside by Riley Bertram, the Michigan shortstop from Zionsville, Indiana. So facing his home state team here, also an all-academic Big Ten communications major, who's really raised his offensive game after batting just .214 a year ago. He's going to take a little high and outside there, and the count goes to 1-1. That pitch goes outside, and the count goes to 2-1 on Bertram, the senior, who started all 42 games for the Wolverines, notched 11 extra base hits, and taken 18 walks for a .346 on base. But it'll take, on the inside corner there, a fastball for a strike. Count goes to 2-2. Flores on first base. Bremer keeping an eye on him, maybe not as worried as he was about Elliott. And that's going to be lined the other way. Drop in right before left fielder Matheson for a single. First and second for the Wolverines. Dylan Stanton out of Richland, Michigan, coming to the plate. Played in just 20 games, just 8 starts and 41 at-bats, but he's been productive, slugging .488 with 2 home runs in limited opportunities, coming up to some earth, wind, and fire, and looking to knock in another run for the Wolverines. Waves at a fastball on the outside corner. That'll send the count to 0-1. Here comes the pitch. An excellent breaking pitch, dropping into the zone. Started a little high and broke toward the outside corner. Puts the count to 0-2 on Dylan Stanton, the young infielder for the Wolverines. And that will get him on the changeup, fading away outside. Stanton waves at it, and we will head to the top of the second with the score tied 2-2. So a very hectic start to this one. Obviously, 2-2 at the end of the first is not the score you expect. But several good pieces of hitting, lots of line drives. The pitchers look like they could be in for a long day if they don't settle down here. But fastballs and breaking balls have been handled, sent to the outfield, sent into the gaps. Nothing crushed so far, other than a very solid single from Tito Flores. But several good pieces of hitting and excellent at-bats from Clark Elliott and even Jimmy Obertop, who knocked in the run there and avoiding the double play. So Indiana comes back up to bat. It'll be Brock Tibbetts playing first base. He's been spending a lot of time there. He's a freshman from New Albany, Ohio, and he's taken 29 walks to just 34 strikeouts. That's the plate discipline that you love to see, especially from a young guy. He's really heated up in recent weeks, although he's had a tough couple series against Illinois and Michigan to start the day. He did manage to walk twice last night, but was 0 for 2. And Tibbetts a grounder over to Fry, an excellent play, ranging to his left, thrown across his body, and getting it over to the first baseman, Dylan Stanton, for the out. Nice first pitch out for Weston after laboring through that first inning a bit. And we will have Max Johnson, the freshman, coming up. He's been splitting time with Evan Goforth with the injury to Philip Glasser, who had been locking down the position. The senior transfer had been hitting .340, but Johnson and Goforth have been trying to hold it down, registering one error each, and neither has gotten going offensively. Johnson at just .174. And a wild start to this at-bat, as that pitch bounces off the dirt in front of home plate and out. And he's going to be down on strikes. Very quick work from Weston there. And that one is going to be low and inside to the backup catcher, Peter Cerruto, batting ninth. got just a .095 batting average in 22 games played. But as I said, he is an excellent defensive catcher. Well, Matthew Ellis behind the plate has only caught one runner this season. Peter Ceruto has caught 3 in about a third of the attempts. And he's going to hit it off the wall in right. And it's going to be limited to a single. Clark Elliott did not have a play as that ball quickly got out to the wall. But a fortunate bounce for the Wolverines right to Elliott. Some would say more than fortunate, a display of his skill reading this padding in the stadium. And Ceruto took a heavy turn, but ultimately decided not to continue to second base, much to the chagrin of the dugout, as the ball then caromed towards third base, and the throw would not have had a chance. Bobby Whalen comes to the plate. Weston pitching quickly out of the stretch. And Whalen will ground it down the third base line, but foul. Steps back in, trying to slow Weston down now that he's in a little bit of a rhythm. And Whalen's going to rip it towards the hole at short. Force out at second will get the third out of the inning. And Indiana will head back into the field for the bottom of the second, still tied at 2. So as we head to the bottom of the second, the score still at 2-2. Bradley Bremer going out for another inning, number 44 for the Hoosiers. ERA has ballooned to 6.11 after his poor start, and the Wolverines would love to jump on him again here, although it will be a little more difficult working out of the bottom of the order. But Ted Burton has been more than serviceable. The junior sporting a .251 ERA in 42 starts. Really more of a factor a year ago. Ted Burton from Huntington Beach, California. The junior bats right and throws right. He was all Big Ten first team as a second baseman and all region second team, according to Rawlings in the Midwest. And he sported a 1101 OPS with 7 homers and 9 doubles despite missing 9 games. So a little below expectations here. And he'll be coming up after Joey Velasquez, who's got a .296 average, 1 homer, 10 RBIs. He's also seen some limited action comparable to Stanton. That's why they put him out in the 8th spot, hoping that Burton can serve as a sort of second leadoff man at the bottom of that order. Velasquez is going to take a breaking pitch in there for a strike. In the windup, Bremer goes. That's going to be low. There's a foul grounder from Joey Velasquez. fielded by the first baseman, Brock Tibbetts, but just not over the bag, just to the right from my vantage point behind home plate. And there's a pitch in the dirt, blocked by Ceruto, and the count goes to 2-2. That one outside, despite the frame from Ceruto. The breaking pitch never quite came back. There's been a couple of those where it hasn't broken the way that the catcher expected. And there's a pitch down the middle, 91 miles per hour on that fastball. Velasquez looked a little unsure of what to expect there and was not ready for the heat after seeing a couple of off-speed pitches. That'll bring Burton to the plate. Number 3 for the Wolverines. And as I said, an excellent player. They're simply waiting for him to get going at the bottom of this lineup. Pitch there on the outside corner. That's going to be a strike. Asking for time as he digs in. Bremer with the windup and the pitch outside. That's going to be ball 1. Outside, that's going to be 1-2. Outside corner, excuse me. Burton checks his swing there on a breaking ball in the dirt. And the appeal down to first base umpire John Sapphire results in ball 2. Bremer perhaps expecting strike 3, but the umpires seem to agree on that call. Burton did not go around. Fastball goes outside, and the count is now full. Ted Burton has been working in a lot of deep counts this year. He's got 21 walks and 47 strikeouts. That's second on the team behind Obertop. There we go. And a looking strikeout on an 83.5 mile an hour changeup right in the zone. Once again, the Michigan batter just looking a little bit uncomfortable. Bremer showing that he has some nasty stuff, especially mixing speeds and location to perfection really here. Obviously, when he's leaving it out over the center of the plate, Michigan's been able to line it to all corners of the field. But when he's painting those corners and working with his 3 pitches, it's really difficult for Michigan hitters to pick it up. That'll change, hopefully, but Clark Elliott will pop this one up, and it's caught by the third baseman very quickly. Bremer sends Michigan down there in order. So some offensive fireworks in that first inning as both teams put 2 runs on the board, followed by settling in for those pitchers, perhaps just wiping that first inning out of their memories. Weston going to a very quick approach, trying to get in rhythm, despite Indiana batters trying to throw him off. He seemed to stay locked in for the second inning as he goes back out there for the third. And then Bremer coming back, pitching some of his best stuff to the bottom of the order there. Let's see if it carries over past Clark Elliott, who is an excellent hitter with great pitch recognition and yet seems to swing under that breaking pitch from Bremer. So Hunter Jesse comes back up to the plate. He is 0 for 1 in this game, but a sharply hit line drive to center field, caught by Joe Stewart. Lefty stands close to the plate and is going to foul that one over, hitting an inner tube, being carried out to the bullpen. Not sure what the ploy is there. And Weston is going to, it appears, hit Hunter Jesse. John Coons did not agree with much of the stadium there, who expected Jesse to take his base. But that'll be ball one. He's going to call in the corner umpires to see if they saw anything. It's possible that they did, but I don't expect them to change the call here, as Coons did not pick up on the ball bouncing across Jesse's cleat there. Coons offering an explanation to Jesse, and the batter will stay at the plate. Takes a couple hacks and steps back into the box. Weston going to his windup quickly and pitches just outside. Count will go to 2-2. He's going to foul that off his leg. Second time he's been hit by the baseball this at bat. Neither time will end up with him on first base. Count stays at 2-2 on the off-speed pitch there. Headed for the dirt if he didn't take a hack at it. But an excellent defensive swing from Jesse. And Jesse's going to pop that one up to shortstop. Riley Bertram calls off Fry and completes the catch. Tough battle there by Weston and Jesse. Weston gets the best of him, and Bertram provides some quality defense and track that ball down. Josh Pine, third baseman, number 32, steps up to the plate, and he's going to be hacking at that first pitch. Foul down the third base line. Struck out in his first appearance prior to Indiana's 2-out rally that netted them 2 runs in the top of that first inning. Swinging again, and a stellar catch by Blaine Deaton, the sophomore pitcher, hanging out in Michigan's dugout. Weston with the windup and the delivery. That's going to be inside for a ball. 1-2. Weston delivers, and that, at first it appeared that it hit his fingers, but it appears to be okay. It appears to hit the shaft of his bat there as he gave a half-hearted check swing at a pitch up and in. That's a more real swing, and that will be the second out as Pine whiffs on a changeup on the inside corner. Weston appears to have settled in, but he will be facing Carter Matheson, who worked an excellent walk in his first plate appearance, lengthening that first inning before scoring a run on the RBI double by Matthew Ellis. There is a strike in there on the swing. Weston drops a breaking ball in there, and Matheson was unprepared. Matheson's going to chop that one foul down the first base line. Fielded by Stanton over there, but to no avail. Matheson taking his time getting back in. This guy is an excellent athlete and a huge recruit for these Hoosiers. Came out of Fort Wayne as a very polished lefty bat. He's displayed that with his .600 slugging percentage in his 43 starts this year. Also posted 40 RBIs and 40 runs, so he's crossing the plate 41 runs now, given his run in the first inning here. And he's also doing it himself with 14 homers. That pitch is going to go outside, 1-2. Weston with the windup and the delivery, swing and a miss. That's out number 3, and Weston puts down the Hoosiers in order there again. Hoosiers start to file out of the dugout and head to their defensive positions. Defensively today, they have Bobby Whalen in center, Hunter Jesse in right, Josh Pine batting third and playing third, Carter Matheson in left, Tyler Domes at second, a stellar defender, Brock Tibbetts at first, Max Johnson, the backup shortstop who's been splitting time with Goforth recently, and Peter Ceruto behind the plate there, number 6. Jersey kid, we have a lot of those at Michigan, headed out to the Midwest after playing a couple seasons at Rutgers. The intra-Big Ten transfer appears a little more uncommon than batters coming from the Horizon League, the Atlantic 10, into the Big Ten. But he's handled it quite well, as the Rutgers Scarlet Knights have ran out into first place in the Big Ten, ranked slightly behind Maryland right now, so maybe not being given the crown by the media and fans just yet, but certainly a threat to win the Big Ten tournament this year after knocking on the door several of the past few years. Joe Stewart walks up to some classic R&B and swings at the first pitch, grounding it up the middle. That's going to go for a single. A diving stop by the second baseman, Tyler Dones, there. But the speedy Stewart was already at first. That's going to be a single for the center fielder right there. Bringing up Matt Fry. His walk-up song, Renegade by Styx. Wolverines is playing some real good music taste with their walk-up songs here. Looking for someone like Tim Anderson at Wrigley the other day to walk up to the Darth Vader Imperial March, but we'd have to ask beforehand. And once again, Bremer is very aware of the speedsters on Michigan's roster. Clark Elliott was in his head earlier, probably threw over 6 or 7 times while Elliott was standing on first. Joe Stewart has even more elite speed. He's got 15 stolen bases, and he's got 2 triples, including one to left center. This one could be 2. but will not. A little miscommunication in the middle of the infield as the shortstop Johnson appeared to think that Dones would cover second, but Johnson was mere steps away from the bag. Probably could have taken it himself. Dones offering a little teaching moment for the youngster. But they did get the out at second, and Michigan will retain a runner on first with Matt Fry, maybe less of a threat on the base pass. Obertop takes the first pitch out to left, and that's going to be a catch for left fielder Carter Matheson. Looked a little awkward out there. I think it carried a little bit more than he thought it would. The wind is blowing out to left center field right now. Made a last-second adjustment, though, and secured the ball. Got to be happy if you're Bremer. A little stressful to watch his outfielders nearly collide, trying to pick that one up off the warning track in left center. First pitch goes outside to Tito Flores, who hit a rocket in his first at bat, knocking in a run for the Wolverines. He's got that crouch stance, bat held high. That one catches the outside corner. Flores is not too happy about that. That appeared to be about 3 inches off the plate, but 22 will dig back in. There's been calls both ways here, especially on that outside corner for a right-handed batter, where Coons hasn't been super consistent, but generally he's calling a good game. And Bremer, noticing that, goes right back to the well, pounding that outside corner. That runs the count to 1-2. Flores, the dynamic outfielder, steps in. And a little bit of a back pick, not in time. The pitch was outside, and the runner, Matt Fry, pretended to feint towards second. Ceruto recognized that and quickly whipped it out to the first baseman, Tibbetts, but not in time. Flores taps the outside of the plate, enters his crouch. Little bit of a wiggle. Bremer nods and delivers. High and a little bit outside. 3-2, 2 outs. The runner will be going. Let's see if Flores can knock it into one of the gaps here and get another run for the Wolverines. Bremer out of the stretch, leg up, and Tito will take outside for ball 4. First and second now with 2 outs already on the board, but Bertram will come to the plate. Experienced senior making his 43rd start. The lefty digs in against the righty pitcher. He can bat both, but with Bremer on the mound, working out of the left side. Takes strike 1, down the middle. Waving the bat. Keeping his hands near his midsection and then cocks it back. Bertram delivers an excellent pitch, breaking inside to the lefty, starting off the outside corner and working its way back over the plate. That'll get the count to 0-2 on Bertram. Bertram is going to chop that one up the middle, playable for Dones, and he's going to get him at first base. Excellent hustle by Bertram, but Dones played the bounce perfectly and whipped it over to Tibbetts for the out. Bertram falls to 0-2 on his day. A relatively hopping crowd here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Compared to some of the dreary rainy days we've had this spring, it is a beautiful day in Ann Arbor. Temperatures nearing 70 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. Sizable Indiana crowd making the drive up from Bloomington. Weston back out on the mound, and Ellis, who had a booming double in that first inning, steps up to the plate. That's going to be a strike on the changeup. Weston looks easy out there. He was tense to start the game, but the body's loose. He's clearly enjoying his time out there on the mound, doing what he needs to do to get set and attack these Indiana hitters. However, Ellis had his number in the first inning, and we'll see what happens here. Misses low. Count goes to 1-2. And Ellis is going to poke that one up in the air. Playable for Stewart. It's going to hang up just enough for him to make the catch in left center. Stewart's hat flies off with the wind blowing into his face out there. But he calmly makes the catch and tosses it back into the infield. Tyler Dones steps to the plate. Struck out his first time up. Weston drops a fastball near Dones' feet there. Count goes to 1-0. Dones steps up, asks for time, twirls the bat, and Weston pitches outside with the heater. 92 miles an hour there. Out of the windup now. And that one low and inside. 3-0 on Tyler Dones, the West Virginia transfer. All Big 12 honorable mention as a freshman and a sophomore. Posted 21 doubles sophomore season. And he'll take first base with the heater inside there. After Weston had appeared to calm down, he unleashed a couple of wild fastballs in that at-bat, grabs the rosin bag, takes a walk around the mound, and steps back up. He'll send it to Brock Tibbetts, the talented first baseman, freshman, hitting .268 now. And Weston appears to nail down his control with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle to Brock Tibbetts. Tibbetts perhaps seeing if he would get his stroke back, so to speak. That one is going to be low, 1-1. Doan's on first. Tibbetts keeps his feet wide. Bat almost straight out behind his head. Weston's going to check on Doans, who wasn't leading very much at all. Is moving, but not putting much space between him and the bag. Maybe more of a corner of the eye trick of space for Cam Weston. The All Big Ten second team pitcher working out of the stretch. That's a swing and a miss from Brock Tibbetts on the fastball. Inside corner. Another fastball there. That one trailing outside. Cam Weston deadening the batter with a changeup there, but Tibbetts fouls it off. Keeps the count at 2-2. Weston, of course, has that changeup, a split finger fastball, a slider, and his four-seamer, which can top out at 95. Tibbetts checks his swing on a slider there, down and away, and first base umpire agrees. John Sapphire agrees with John Coombs that he did not go around. 3-2, 1 out, Doans at first. Weston to pitch, out of the stretch, and the delivery. That one charged into center field, but catchable for Stewart stays up in the air, and he will comfortably make the catch with space to spare in front of the warning track. So rather than Johnson, the second backup shortstop, Evan Goforth, will come into the game. He started yesterday's game, and he's actually had a bit more success, batting .261 on the year, with a .393 on base and .391 slugging. Obviously seeing more time with injury to Glasser. Struggled a lot to start the year, but has since gone 5 for 7 with 2 doubles and 5 RBIs in the Illinois series last week. Goforth digging in for the 1-1 offering. And that's going to be grounded through the right side. Doans heads to third base, and he'll reach there standing up. Not very strong contact, but well placed, nearly hitting the runner Doans. Right between first baseman Dylan Stanton and second baseman Ted Burton for the Wolverines. Ceruto steps up to the plate, now batting .116, raising his average with a hard hit single to the right field wall in his first time up. Out of the stretch, Weston nearly yanks one all the way to the back to the backstop there, but an excellent stop by Obertop behind the plate, reaching out and backhanding that ground ball. That one ripped. Excellent play by Matt Fry. And he's got him. Ted Burton covering second. Fry made a diving play, and Burton had to stretch like a first baseman to keep that ball from scampering into right field. An excellent play. The umpire had to wait to see if he caught the ball, but the foot stayed on the bag and just barely beating the runner Goforth, who was standing at first base. Number 44 back out on the mound, Bradley Bremer. Big right-hander. ERA temporarily spiked, now back to where it was at the beginning of the game, 589. Walks hits per inning pitched, that's the whip at 155. But this Indiana staff has struggled. The bullpen is not very deep, and they want to see Bremer go as long as he can while being effective, and he certainly has been effective since the shaky start. He's going to go back out there for the bottom of the fourth. One thing that he truly excels at is limiting the long ball, giving up just 3 on the season to go with just 10 doubles. It's been hard for batters to barrel up Bremer. They can get solid contact, maybe, ground balls through the hole into the gaps, representing a little bad luck on his part. But he's really stayed away from those crushing long balls, as Michigan displayed last night. Saw 5 home runs between the two teams last night. 2 2-runs for the Wolverines that really broke the game open in the late innings. Stanton steps up to the plate. And that pitch nearly hits Stanton. Stanton 0 for 1 with a strikeout his first time up. And a little swinging bunt there. That could drop in, and he will be safe. Now that was an interesting swing. Stanton did not seem to commit to the baseball. The coaches aren't going to be too happy about it. However, in effect, he stopped his bat mid-swing, bunting it past the pitcher and in between the shortstop and third baseman, creating a very difficult play for the left side of that infield. Eventually, Josh Pine collected the ball and threw to first, but not in time for the first baseman, Stanton. Now, Joey Velasquez steps to the plate, the lefty. He's going to see a curve drop in there for strike 1. Excellent fastball, a little up in the zone, but certainly a strike. Velasquez may be expecting a little break on that pitch, but it never strayed. Foul tip by Velasquez. Runs the count to 0-2. Stanton fainting at first base. Bremer unconcerned. The jitters appear to have left him. Or maybe he just knows that Stanton is just 2 for 2 on stolen base attempts this year. And that one is ripped just foul. Velasquez sent that 80-mile-an-hour pitch, 80 miles an hour, down the line. However, just missed the top of the base and just avoided extra bases for the Hoosiers. Velasquez sees the offering. Oh! And that one high and in. Velasquez bending back a little to avoid being hit. Gassed him up a little bit at 92 miles an hour, but lost a little bit of control. That's going to be ball one. Stanton feinting again on a ball in the dirt. Excellent block by Peter Ceruto, keeping that ball in front of him, whipping the mask off and hopping on that ball very quickly. Stanton didn't really have a chance to head to second, even though his lead is growing bigger with every passing pitch. Bremer out of the stretch. And that one ripped line drive. That's going to be a single into right field. Solid piece of hitting from Velasquez. Right over the head of Tyler Dones at second base, but firmly in under the stalking legs of right fielder Hunter Jesse there. Perfectly placed, solid piece of hitting. He barreled it up, and you could tell that he was waiting on that pitch and ready to attack, even in that two-strike count. A mound visit from Ceruto, going over some signs perhaps, trying to calm him down. The rest of the infield jogs in for a little bit of a talk with the veteran catcher. Bremer giving his thoughts to the team, discussing how they're going to handle this situation with two runners on for the first time since that fateful first inning. Burton digs in, the dual second baseman, first baseman, and DH. Steps up to the plate. He's the top infield prospect and the number 8 overall prospect in the Big Ten, according to Perfect Game. And he's showing bunt here for the first pitch from Bremer. Bremer decides not to deliver, twirling around to second base. Not throwing, no one covering though. Giving his corner infielder Tibbetts some time to creep in a little bit. Once again, twists off the mound and fakes towards second base. Stanton isn't looking much to run there, but he's looking to get a good jump should Burton decide to bunt here. Although now he cocks the bat back as Bremer goes into position. Shows bunt and pulls it back as the pitch goes outside. Stanton is on first, Stanton on second, Velasquez on first, Burton at the plate. And a scoring opportunity for Michigan created by the bottom of their lineup. Sending it back to Clark Elliott, who is on deck, would be a great position to be in, especially if runners are in second and third. Showing bunt again, and he takes that one low. Count is 2-0. Bremer is reluctant to give up a sacrifice here. Tibbetts creeping in a little more at the corner. But Pine staying honest at third, perhaps for the force. Burton not showing bunt there, and Bremer finally grooves in a strike at 90 miles an hour. You wonder if seeing the bat head out in front of the plate had messed with his execution on those past couple pitches, because the mechanics looked sound on that one. Bremer digs in, peeks back at Stanton. Looks toward the plate. Burton showing bunt. Runs the count to 3-1 as the pitch goes high. Bremer avoiding that bunt situation may have given Burton an opportunity to load the bases instead for Clark Elliott, which would be an even more disastrous situation for these Hoosiers. Showing bunt, and he's going to bunt it to the pitcher. Not a stellar bunt, but does the job as Bremer tosses it over to Dones at first for the out. A good jump by Stanton saved the play from going to third, as well as the placement of the bunt, as Burton bunted it straight ahead, not giving any opportunity for a spin play for the pitcher Bremer, or an even better angle for the charging first baseman. Elliott swaggers up to the plate, taking a couple of practice swings, staring out at the gaps in right field. And they're going to intentionally walk him here. That's the kind of hitter that Clark Elliott is. You have to be cognizant of the damage that he can do. Scouting report from the MLB says he's an all-fields hitter with a line drive approach and some of the best bat speed in the Big Ten. Season goal was to identify breaking pitches a little better, and he seems to have matured at the plate, sporting his on-base percentage of nearly .460. First pitch from Bremer to center fielder Joe Stewart runs inside. The bases are loaded for Stewart, who is a terrifying hitter in his own right. .337 average, 1 for 2 on the day. He waves at that pitch off the outside corner, breaking and heading for the Indiana dugout there. Excellent movement, and Stewart was very fooled. And Stewart's going to lift that one into the air. It's going to be a tough play if they have one. And lands just foul. The wind appeared to play with that pop fly a little bit. As you'd expect, Pine and Goforth to have a play on that as it landed in play, and both of them were standing against the fence expecting it to fall over. Of course, that wind blowing out to center, perhaps left center, could have pushed that back into play a little bit down the third base line. Stewart facing a 1-2 count as Bremer digs in. Raises the leg and delivers. And that check swing goes around. Home plate umpire does not need the appeal of Ceruto. He's going to call Stewart out himself. Stewart would love to have that swing back. He was a little fooled by the breaking action. Exactly what Clark Elliott has been working on and perfecting is what Joe Stewart needs to take his game to the next level. Tough break, though, there, as excellent movement from Bremer got him out in front. The lefty Fry looks at a breaking pitch on the outside corner. That'll be strike one. Single in the first, and grounded into a fielder's choice in the third. Takes one in the dirt there, 1-1. Fry, a very patient hitter with 27 walks on the year and just 28 strikeouts, so he tries to put the ball in play. Although not given a chance there as the ball sails on Bremer a little bit, high outside. He's had a little trouble controlling that changeup. A couple times it has sailed nearly out of the reach of the excellent catcher Peter Cerruto. Setting up outside, and a perfect pitch. Cerruto putting the knee down over there and framing it perfectly. Pitch broke back inside on a lefty and caught a piece of that outside corner. Excellent execution. Bremer delivers, and Fry's going to rip that one into the gap. One run will score, another coming around. Ball heads to the wall, fielded by the center fielder. And a third runner comes around. That's going to be Elliott, a bases clearing double for Matt Fry. What a swing. Exit velocity 108.4 miles an hour. Really put a charge into that ball. Not much lift on it, just a line drive into the gap with all the speed in the world on it. There was no chance for either center fielder Bobby Whalen or left fielder Carter Matheson, right fielder Hunter Jesse to cut it off. And those outfielders have some elite speed, especially Whalen, who finally corralled the ball near the 8 on the outfield fence in right center field. Overtop fouls that one back into the netting. Bremer delivers. Looks like he's trying to execute a 12-6 curve there, just 76 miles an hour. Couldn't get it to drop all the way back into the zone. And Obertop is going to spit on it from the moment it was at his eye level. Obertop fouls that one into the parking lot. Been slightly late on the past two fastballs that have been offered to him, but he's staying honest on these breaking pitches that have proven so effective for Bremer. Reaches at that one off the outside corner and fouls it into the parking lot once again. Defensive swing from Jimmy Obertop. Excellent way to stay alive. Obertop, of course, grounded out for an RBI in the first inning, knocking in Clark Elliott, and flew out to left field in the third. Here in the bottom of the fourth, Michigan has managed to start a rally from the bottom of the order, with Stanton and Velasquez reaching base. Ted Burton bunted them over. Clark Elliott was intentionally walked. Joe Stewart was unable to bring the runs home, but Matt Fry with a blistering double to the wall in right center, giving the Wolverines their current 5-2 lead. Bremer kicks and delivers inside, and they're going to say it grazed him on the elbow, putting Jimmy Obertop at first base. Hoosiers manager not happy after the call missed on Hunter Jesse earlier when it appeared to hit him in the foot. Also arguing that Obertop did not make an effort to get out of the way of that pitch, even though it was over the plate. I'm not sure about that. The pitch was inside. Obertop did wear the pitch. He was not looking to get out of the way. And he will take his base. Bremer back to the mound. Tito Flores up to the plate. He's 1 for 1 today. Walked in the third as well. First pitch, just a little high. Tito steps out, steps back in, taps the plate, enters his crouch high hands. Number 44, Bremer on the mound, kicks, delivers, and out in front, fouled back on that 82-mile-an-hour breaking ball. Bremer looking for some grip. And now it's the catcher and delivers. Tito swings through a fastball there. Count goes to 1-2. Flores batting .296, 10 home runs and 36 RBIs. 2 more on here that he'd love to knock in with an extra base hit. DHing today, has been reliable in left field. Flores takes down and away. Count goes to 2-2. 2 outs, 2 on. Wolverines lead 5-2. Bremer delivers. And Flores is going to ground it over to Goforth, flips it to Dones for the force out at second base. Wolverines finally go down after 8 batters see the plate in that inning. Indiana will come back up in the top of the 5th looking for an answer. So to recap the game so far, Indiana jumped out to a 2-0 lead following hits by Bobby Whalen and a walk by Carter Matheson with 2 outs that led to a 2 RBI double by Matthew Ellis, who's DHing today, the lefty catcher, a star for Indiana. Michigan answered with 2 in the bottom of the 1st. Clark Elliott reaching base, and Jimmy Obertop knocking him in with a RBI groundout. Tito Flores later knocked in Matt Fry. And of course, Matt Fry with a bases-clearing double smoked one to the right center wall, knocking in Clark Elliott, Dylan Stanton, and Joey Velasquez in the bottom of the 4th inning there. Top of the order due for the Indiana Hoosiers. Number 16, Bobby Whalen. Blazing speed, 45 games started, mostly in center field. The electrifying sophomore will step up to the plate, followed by Hunter Jesse and Josh Pine, and Carter Matheson, if one can reach. If Indiana's going to score runs, it's going to need to come from some of these high-performance guys at the top of the order, though they do have a lot of depth. Several guys with slugging percentages throughout the order. Brock Tippett's there at the 7th spot stands out as someone who can bring the Hoosiers home should they attempt a rally. Weston's still on the mound, and he delivers a strike. First pitch to Bobby Whalen. Fastball down the middle. There's a ground ball sharply hit down the third base line. Foul. Count goes to 0-2. Cam Weston will throw his 68th pitch here. That's going to be high. Count is 1-2 on Whalen. Likes to put the ball in play. And he will hear Fry gloves it by his shoelaces, and whips it over to Stanton for the out. Matt Fry, the graduate student from Davidson, looks like he has nailed down his hot corner duties. We've seen a couple times this year just single-handedly anchor the left side of that Wolverines defense, getting the balls that another third baseman might let travel into the hole, opening the door for infield singles, but he dives, he can backhand, he can throw across his body, and that's proven incredibly valuable for this Wolverines defense. Jesse steps in, he's going to take outside. Jesse takes outside again. That's the second ball. An underrated part of Jesse's offensive output is actually his mustache. It is a thing of beauty. And he's going to pop one up into left field. Velasquez will make the play on the track. The wind playing with it again as he couldn't get a good read on it. Shifted his weight 3 times, first going to his back shoulder, then his front shoulder, and ending up making the catch near his chest. A little confusing for Velasquez, but he handled the pressure well. A sneaky charge put in that ball by Whalen. Josh Pine steps to the plate, shows bunt, and does not follow through, 1-0. And there, he lines one into the gap. That's going to be extra bases. He's heading for second. Stewart collects it and whips it back in. Bertram makes the catch. Shovels it back to Stanton. Excellent relay set up by the Wolverines to hold into 2 bases there. Stewart showing off the arm and skipping his first cut and getting it to Bertram. Matheson finds himself in a familiar situation. 2 outs and trying to extend an inning to put some runs on the board. Worked for him in the first as he walked and eventually scored. And there he's going to be nearly hit on a fastball, high and inside. If he had left his elbow out there the way Obertop did, I'm sure he would be taking his base right now. Matheson fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike on Carter Matheson, the freshman, who has shown tremendous power. 14 home runs on the season, second on the team, only behind veteran Matthew Ellis. And a .263 average to boot. Outside, 2-1 on Carter Matheson. Weston running his pitch count up to 78 pitches over his 4 2/3. 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Weston peers back at second base and delivers. An outside corner pitch that did not get a friendly call from home plate umpire John Coons. Sends the count to 3-1. That one's going to be grounded up the middle. Weston knocks it down, tosses it over, and the throw takes Stanton off the bag. Sharply hit by Matheson, right back at the pitcher. Weston did a good job getting some leather on it. Fortunately, made it an awkward play as he scrambled off the mound, collected the ball, and threw it off balance over to Dylan Stanton. Stanton stretched and appeared to hold on to it for a second, but fell off the bag as the ball arrived. Excellent hustle by the slugger Matheson there, getting out of that left-handed batter's box probably a necessity. Over top, and pitching coach Steve Merriman will head out to the mound to talk with Weston. Nobody up, but some guys completing preliminary stretching, throwing the arms over their head, getting the circles going. Over in the Michigan bullpen, I think they let Weston finish out this inning here, if he can, but always want to have an insurance policy with runners on the corners, 2 outs. And Matthew Ellis, who has already smoked Cam Weston once today, to keep him from replicating that performance. First pitch to Fry. Swing and a miss. Excellent change up there from the veteran Weston. Pitching against the stud catcher Matthew Ellis for the Indiana Hoosiers. That one will go inside. Ellis has sent Weston to the outfield both times, and the delivery blocked in front of the plate by Obertop, keeping the runners honest and setting the count to 2-1 with 2 outs here. Weston looks in, comes set, and delivers. Oh. The Michigan fans had something to say about that call. Looked like it scraped the inside corner. John Coons did not agree. Over there on that inside to a lefty, outside to a righty location, where he has been slightly inconsistent. And sends the count to 3-1. Runners faint. And Ellis will take his base. Number 55, Cam Weston, stretching his neck, correcting his hat, and trying to reset himself. As a couple of pitchers warm up in the Michigan pen. .47 Jacob Denner is up over there in the bullpen as Weston delivers to Tyler Dones. Just outside there. Number 5 in red will take and send it to 1-0. Dones taking his time, staring at his bat. Compact stature here. And he's going to take inside there, wiggling out of the way of that errant fastball. And there's a healthy hack from Dones, but he does miss it, and the count goes to 2-1. Fastball down the middle. He got what he wanted. Fortunately, his uppercut swung him a little off balance there. Weston digs back in. Runners are now on second and third, in addition to first. Bases are loaded, rather. And a big wave. Weston gets him again with a fastball. Dones clearly wants to give the Hoosiers the lead. He's got an eye on that left center fence where the wind will carry any fly ball today. Doan's asking for time. Weston peering in. Comes set. Kicks and delivers. Doan's takes inside at the knees. Doan's, whose production has fallen off a bit in past years since his stellar start to his college career, looking for a reset with Indiana baseball. And despite getting most of the starts this year, he does find himself in this middle of the order rather than at the top that a guy like him wants to be at. And he's going to chop that one up. Riley Bertram makes the play, and not in time. Tyler Doan's hit that one straight into the ground. It popped a mile high. Bertram had to wait for it to come back down, even with a well-timed hop to high point that baseball. Came down throwing, and it still wasn't enough. That's a tough play where the ball doesn't leave the infield, doesn't even give any kind of trouble to the fielder. It's just how much time is going to hang in the air there. That'll bring home the run, and the bases are still loaded for Brock Tibbetts. Eric Backage is coming out to discuss with the umpire on that last pitch. I'm even a little confused by what I just saw. The pitch was high. Tibbetts appeared to offer at the pitch. Held up as Obertop reached out to snag the baseball. Ball popped out of Obertop's glove. It's unclear if that's because the bat made contact with the baseball, making it a foul ball, or the catcher's mitt. I believe that if they rule that he did not make contact with anyone, and they are going to rule it a foul tip. Jeff Mercer heading out to discuss with the umpires here after his appeals for strike calls and hit by pitch calls were ignored earlier. The third base or first base umpire must have made this call, as John Coons appeared to have no idea that contact was made with the baseball. So that sends a 1-0 count, or potentially catcher's interference, to an 0-1 count as everyone gets set for play. A long break, Weston back to the mound, looking in. Tibbetts bats straight back behind his head with the kick. And that pitch, expertly framed by Obertop, might have been a couple inches off the plate, but calls strike two. If you're Mercer, you can't be very happy with a potential 2-0 count turning into an 0-2 count in a pivotal moment such as this. And that one is a grounder to first base. Stanton will take it himself and end the inning. Avoiding most of the damage there, stranding three is Cam Weston. That might be the day for him, as Jacob Tenner appears set to go. But way to wiggle his way out of that one, perhaps with some help from home plate umpire John Coons. That was a pivotal at-bat for Brock Tibbetts there. Obviously hitting out the 7 spot, but has been a key performer for this Hoosiers offense. Tough call on the foul tip for the first pitch, strike one. And then once again, the second pitch seemed just off the outside edge. But Weston and the Wolverines will accept that fortunate turn of events and certainly take their share of luck after being victimized by a high chopper and a relatively sharply hit ground ball that bounced off of the leather of Cam Weston on the mound. Riley Bertram will be heading to the plate after Tito Flores ended the last inning. And Bremer is coming back out for the bottom of the fifth. Sitting at 86 pitches coming into this inning. And had a bit of a rough go in the bottom of the fourth, despite allowing limited solid contact. Bertram's going to foul that one back. Pitch count goes to 0-1. Bertram singled in the first inning, did not come around to score, and he grounded out in the third. Bertram takes a big wave, and the count goes to 0-2. Wide on the curve there. Count goes to 1-2. Bertram waiting, Bremer winding, and swing and a miss, strike three. Excellent job deadening that pitch. Changeup came in at just 82 miles an hour, and Bertram was way out in front. Dylan Stanton comes up to the plate in the fifth inning after getting the rally started in the fourth, singling to lead off the inning. Stanton's average up to 349, 6 RBIs and 2 stolen bases for the first baseman. Count is quickly 0-2 with the pitch hanging on to the outside corner there for Bradley Bremer. Stanton waves at a pitch outside. A very efficient start to this inning. Bremer perhaps his final inning, showing some efficiency against the bottom of the Wolverines' order. Velasquez back up at the plate. He singled last inning before coming around on the bases clearing double by third baseman Matt Fry. His average sits at .310 on the year. Excellent pitch recognition there. Saw the curve coming a mile away, just couldn't make solid contact with it as it trickles over to the Indiana dugout. He's going to lift that one into center field. Going back, it's going to be off the wall, and he's going to head for second. Cut goes towards third, and Velasquez strolls into second base, firing up the Michigan dugout. Quite a charge in that baseball. Got some lift on it, and 101 miles an hour off the bat, hitting the 395 in center field. You can tell that Bobby Whalen had a hard time judging it, maybe due to the wind, but maybe due to the excellent barreling of that baseball. Wave from Burton. That'll go to 0-1 on the fastball on the inside corner. Burton digs in, standing relatively upright, wiggling the hips. Gets into set position. Bremer delivers. That's going to be a wild pitch, and Velasquez cruises into third. Two outs, of course. Not going to be able to bring him in with a ground out or a sacrifice fly. But it helps if they can get the ball to the outfield or perhaps an infield single for the speedy Burton. Velasquez could come home. And he checks his swing there, very unsure of what he was doing, and he grounds it down the first base line. Foul. Burton holds up as the pitch goes outside. Count goes to 2-2. 2 outs. Velasquez standing on third after a double and a wild pitch. Burton waving the bat. Bremer digging in for his 101st pitch. That's going to go low. That's going to be a strike. Burton watched it paint the outside corner. An excellent pitch. Definitely in the zone. Bremer with his 3rd strikeout of the inning and his 8th overall. Figure his day is done. 5 innings. And his 8 strikeouts to go with 5 earned runs. Checking in on the Big Ten standings. Still have Rutgers sitting at the top. And Maryland just behind them. They, of course, just had a series slightly postponed. Rutgers and Maryland did. From a Friday through Sunday to a Saturday through Monday, starting today. Evan Goforth leads off the top of the 6th with a sharp single up the middle. Weston back out there on the mound. And now Ceruto will step up to the plate. Slightly closed stance for the backup catcher. Takes one at the top of the zone for strike 1. A belt swap going on over at first base. Appears that his belt may have gotten a little too stretched out, maybe, and was not fitting Evan Goforth anymore. Good thing you have a first base coach over there, ready to help, and in uniform. Rocking the high socks, red cleats, looking like his playing days aren't even over. And back to the action, all belted up over at first base. That's going to be a wave and an 0-2 count on Peter Ceruto. Rest of the Big Ten standings look Illinois sitting 3 games back of Rutgers. Iowa just a half game back of U of I. Michigan at 10-6, sitting in 5th place. Weston delivers and chopped down the third base line and foul. After that, you have Purdue and Penn State sitting at just 7-8, 2.5 games behind Michigan at 10-6. Northwestern, Nebraska are at 7-9. Nebraska's a bit of a surprise, coming in as one of the favorites alongside Rutgers and Maryland, but not able to keep the pace. And then Michigan State, Indiana, Ohio State, Minnesota close out the standings. Excellent swing by Ceruto. Poorly placed as Velasquez calmly collects it. He did not have to move on that line drive. Exit velocity 96 miles an hour. Back to the top of the order, number 16, Bobby Whalen, and his .326 average with 22 stolen bases up at the plate. Dangerous hitter, runner on first, and 1 out for the leadoff hitter to work with. Weston checks over on the runner. Calmly sliding back in is Evan Goforth. Weston peering in. Goforth taking a sizable lead. Weston looking in. Kicks. Showing bunt is Whalen, but pulls it back as the ball goes high. Count is 1-0. Weston kicks, and Whalen swings. That ball was heading for his feet if he didn't take a hack at it. And the count goes to 1-1. Matt Fry not worried about the bunt anymore. Backpedaling to his normal position at third base. Whalen, another slightly closed stance. No kick. Swings and a miss. One and two. Runner on first. Infield playing straight up. Outfield as well. Weston delivers. And Whalen chops it down the third base line. Foul. Lots of Hoosier hitters have been living on the edges here, sending them just to the left of third or just to the right of first base from the batter's perspective. You wonder if they had slid some of those in, if this game would have a different timbre right now. Once again, foul. A little more this time. Digging that one out of the dirt on the breaking ball. Whalen proving himself a tough out for Cam Weston, who has crossed the 100 mark for pitch count here in the 6th inning. Goforth fakes, and the pitch was low. Whalen, athletic stance, high elbow, rips and fouls it off. Goes off his foot, trickles out to first base, stays at 2-2. Weston's going to have to fight for everything he's got. Got a couple of lefties going in the Michigan pen now. Weston to deliver. Fouled back. Whalen will not go down. Weston is giving him fastballs, breaking balls, staying down and away, coming inside, and Whalen is not giving an inch to the veteran right-hander. Wow. Backage comes out. It appears that Cam Weston has hit his pitch count at nearly 110 pitches, and middle of the at-bat, they're going to bring in a reliever from the bullpen. Maybe in the interest of not wearing him out down there, as he was ready to go, and definitely in the interest of Weston, who was starting to run past his allotted count on that lengthy at-bat. Weston will get an ovation from the home crowd. Leaves with 5 1/3 and 3 earned runs, 8 hits, 3 walks scattered across those 5+ innings. Struck out 5 batters. He is responsible for the runner on first should number 40 Angelo Smith fail to limit the damage. Angelo Smith, not been the most reliable reliever, though he does have 10 appearances and 11 innings pitched on the year. 7.36 ERA in those appearances, and he has allowed a 3.96 batting average against. Indiana should be happy that they've got this matchup, although he is a lefty and will change up the looks they've been getting from Weston all day. Angelo Smith from Thornton, Illinois, 5'9", 175 pounds. That ERA has ballooned recently. He was more reliable at the beginning of the year. He's had a tough couple outings his past few times out. This will be Smith's first appearance since April 10th, when he went 2/3 against Cal State Fullerton. Did give up 3 earned runs, making that win a little more stressful than it had to be. And remember, Bobby Whalen is still at the plate after working a monstrous 8-pitch at bat against Cameron Weston. He'll try to finish it off against the lefty, Angelo Smith. Whalen takes practice hack, steps in. Smith comes set. And an excellent play by Ted Burton there, as a soft liner turns into a double play. Whalen cued it up the middle. Burton got over, fielded the ball cleanly on one hop, stepped on the bag, and fired it over to Stanton at first base in time for the speedy Whalen. Excellent play, and Smith avoids that last runner that he inherited from Cam Weston. Heading to the bottom of the 6th with the Wolverines at 5 and the Hoosiers at 3. Number 41 takes the mound for the Hoosiers coming into this inning. That is Ty Bothwell, sporting a 4.99 ERA, 14 appearances. He got 30 2/3 inning pitch, despite 0 starts. He is a typical long reliever. It's been very effective, limiting hitters to a 230 average and giving up 5 home runs, which is a little discouraging, but limiting the doubles and triples, not a heavy slugging percentage for hitters, especially in Big Ten play. Ty Bothwell is a left-handed redshirt junior from Hebron, Indiana. He made just 3 appearances last season, but has really come on this year, especially with 5 innings pitched and 1 run allowed against Butler on the 26th. Also came in for 2 2/3 against Illinois on the 1st of May and allowed 0 earned runs. The last time he allowed multiple earned runs was April 19th against Miami of Ohio, when he managed to go 4 innings. So he is a dangerous threat out of their bullpen, especially a bullpen that has struggled so much this year to limit hitters. Remember, Indiana's offense is one of the top offenses in the conference, averaging over 7 runs a game, but the pitchers allow about 8, and that's unsustainable for any staff. Clark Elliott steps up to the plate, 0 for 1 so far, with a hit by pitch and a walk in the rallying innings of the 1st and the 4th. Takes strike 1 there. Elliott chops it over to Dones, and that's actually off of his foot, so a foul ball. Pretty significant exit velocity as that bounced all the way out to the second baseman. Elliott shaking it off, walking it off a little bit there. Dones jogging back out to his position. Bothwell giving him a chance to recover, but back to the rubber here. Elliott with his athletic stance, front foot out in front, slightly open. Takes that one high and in. Count goes to 1-2. Elliott, back foot on the back line of the batter's box. Swing the bat back and forth. Pitch coming. And he lines it out there into right, but it's going to be caught. Hunter Jesse ranging over to his right and grabbing it. The lefty tosses it back in. Pretty well struck for Clark Elliott. Hung up a little bit too long for the speedy Jesse to get out there and collect it. Joe Stewart comes to the plate. Singled in the 3rd, struck out in the 1st and 4th, although that did not affect the Wolverines' ability to score runs. Let's see if he can get something started here. Takes outside. Joe Stewart hulking at the plate. He's going to pop that one up, out of play, right side. Stewart dig it in. The kick and the pitch. A questionable call by the home plate umpire Coons there. Is going to be a strike and run the count to 1-2. Stewart did not agree. The pitch, Stewart fights it off. Just prohibiting his 3rd strikeout of the day with that kind of swing. chatting a bit with backup catcher Peter Cerruto about the movement on that pitch, I believe, at 92.4 miles an hour and running outside from the lefty. Fouls that one back. Little sinking action, 88 miles an hour and headed for his feet, but able to stay alive. Stewart getting ready, keeping his weight back. And taking that one high and outside, 94 from Bothwell. Stewart steps out, 2-2 count. Everyone needs a breather. Bothwell back to the rubber. Working off the third base side and exclusively out of the stretch. Kicks, pitches. And that one's going to be popped up, straight back, out of play. Stewart fighting, as he's done in so many at-bats this year. Reliable part of the top of this order. 335 average, 9 home runs for the center fielder. Played last season in East Lansing. And he's going to line that one. Fair ball down the line in the left field corner. Stewart heads for second. He's going to get there easily standing up. Asks for time. Singles to the bench as they celebrate another extra base hit for these Wolverines, instantly putting himself in scoring position with just one out on the board. Fry has been hot today. 2 of 3 with a single and a run in the first inning, and a bases clearing double to right center. A rocket, 108 miles an hour off the bat. Been good about putting the ball in play here. And they would love that here. Stewart's speed gives him a chance on any ball to the outfield. That one low and blocked by Cerruto. Matt Fry now batting .275, 37 RBIs, including the 3 today. And he takes low again. Fastball in there, maybe a little sinking action at 91 miles an hour. Ty Bothwell staring in. Joe Stewart, small lead over at second, extending it a little bit, being kept honest by Goforth. The delivery, that's going to be flew into left field. Tough play, but catchable and caught. Good angle to the baseball there. Kept it in front of him at all times. Did not allow himself to make too hard of a cut and then have to readjust. Kind of circled around and then came through the ball, eliminating any confusion should he be running away from the field of play and making the catch in fair territory. Back to Jimmy Obertop at the plate. Big swing on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball outside corner, perfectly placed by Ty Bothwell. Obertop come to a standstill. Bothwell keeping Stewart honest at second with a little bit of a turn. Dones sneaking up behind him, but will not attempt to throw. Bothwell. Kicks and pitches. That's high And the throw will hit Stewart. Ceruto attempted a back pick as Stewart became a little reckless on the base paths. However, the throw hit Stewart on his dive back into second base and shot out into right center field before it was collected by Dones. Stewart advances to third, and they're lucky that's all it was. Overtop takes strike on the outside corner. Overtop just needs to make some solid contact here. Drop in a single. Love a home run. He's been taking some home run swings. But he needs to knock home an insurance run here. High. Ceruto corrals that at his own eye level, standing up. Jimmy Overtop sees the pitch and waves for strike three. That's the third out. Stewart stranded on third after an excellent swing and heads up running by the center fielder. Michigan does not capitalize. And Hunter Jesse will come up first for the Hoosiers in the top of the seventh. So an interesting order of events here. In the innings when Elliott has been able to reach base, the Wolverines have put together a rally behind him, both times including Matt Fry, in the innings when Stewart, kind of a pseudo-second leadoff hitter with his .336 average at the second spot in the lineup. They have not been able to knock home the speedy center fielder. So the score stays at 5-3. And it appears that Angelo Smith is headed back out to the mound after his one pitch, 2/3 of an inning in relief of Cam Weston. Overtop is all geared up after ending the inning there on the strikeout. Heads back out. Angelo Smith with the warm-up pitch. Grooving in a curveball there. And Hunter Jesse waiting, taking some practice swings on deck here. Jesse's the guy that they need to get going here. Indiana's relied on him all year, coming out of that second spot or other place in the lineup due to the injuries to Philip Glasser. But a guy with a .350 average in 120 at-bats is a valuable piece anywhere that he bats. His 24 walks and 23 strikeouts show the type of patient hitter that he is. And if Indiana's going to put something together, you'd expect it to be Jesse leading the charge here. Excellent curve in there at 73 miles an hour from Smith. That's going to be strike one. Smith looking in, also working off the third base side of the rubber. Kicks. And Jesse rips it into right field. That's going to be a solid single for the right fielder. 105 miles an hour on the exit velocity. Placed any other, down the line or in the gap. Could have been extra bases. But straight to Clark Elliott. Calmly throws it in. And Josh Pine will step to the plate. Pine batting .309, 1 for 3 on the day. Smith is going to send him a little trailing changeup. Drops into the zone. Looks like he was headed for that inside corner and just fades away. Smith checking first. And a swing and a miss from Josh Pine. The third baseman with 44 RBIs on the year, 18 extra base hits. They could use one here. And he's going to knock it straight to Clark Elliott as well. Once again, just a solid piece of hitting going the other way. Pitch was a bit outside, and he took it. Both Jesse and Pine stayed dead on those pitches, not fooled by the movement, and just calmly knocking them to right in that big hole where Ted Burton is not able to cover that much ground, especially on balls sliced the way they are. Angelo Smith, no outs and 2 on, looking to get out of another jam. Check swing by Carter Matheson, and that's going to be ball 1. Matheson, an impact freshman, excellent athlete. Takes that one in there for a strike. It's 1-1. Matheson from Fort Wayne really came onto the scene in the Xavier series where he went 5 for 11 with 7 RBIs, 2 home runs, and 3 walks. Also had 3 home runs in last weekend's series with Illinois, 5 for 14 with 6 RBIs there. Finds himself with a 2-1 count against Angelo Smith. Smith with his high kick and pitches outside to the lefty. 3-1. Matheson is a dangerous hitter. Don't want to give in here. However, there's not a lot of space on the base paths. Runners at second, Hunter Jesse, and first, Josh Pine. Matheson liked what he saw, but he popped it up. And it's going to be dropped. Velasquez and Bertram couldn't figure out who was going to take it. The ball was high, and they were both jogging in. Neither of them had a good read on the ball. I'm sure with the wind blowing it as it has been, Bertram thought it was going to carry a little bit more. But if you look out to the outfield, the flags are dead. Flags aren't moving anymore. So Bertram misjudged the wind, didn't realize it was going to come back to him the way it did. And Velasquez made a diving attempt at the last second, but with no rhythm and no clear path with the traffic out there. Bases are now loaded. That's going to be ruled a single, as Velasquez is not able to get a glove on it to drop it. But make no mistake, it's a defensive miscue for the Michigan Wolverines. Matthew Ellis, number 35, regular catcher. Today, the starting DH. Coming to the plate here with the bases loaded. He's been an impact player all year, clearly, with his 50 RBIs leading the way for the Hoosiers. 15 home runs, same at the top of the leaderboard for Indiana. He's got 2 RBIs today, and he's looking to add a few more here with a solidly hit ball. Smith tries to dot the corner, unable to do so. 1-0 to Ellis. Not a good place to be in, the way Smith has loaded the bases for one of the Indiana's best hitters and the Big Ten's best hitters. That pitch is a passed ball, and very, very little contact made by Obertop with that pitch. You wonder if he was expecting it to go somewhere else, because it went straight between his legs, unable to block even a piece of it. which ended up being lucky as it bounced straight back off the backstop to Overtop, and all the runners had to hold their positions. Ellis nearly hit. Hit. Yes. Yes, hit. Just grazed. About the third time we've seen a just grazed batter today. But definitely a hit by pitch on that inside attempt by Angelo Smith. That's going to bring home a run, and the score is 5-4. Michigan Wolverines over the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be it for Angelo Smith. He leaves the bases loaded, 1 earned run, and just 2/3 of an inning on a 1-pitch double play in relief of Cam Weston. And that'll be Jacob Denner, I believe, coming in. That's Jacob Denner heading out to the mound for the Michigan Wolverines. He's been a little bit more reliable than Angelo Smith, although the 6.35 ERA isn't too much of an improvement from the lefty who just left. Denner, however, does have starting experience, and earlier this year, he was phenomenal against Kansas State to start the year. 6 innings pitched and just 1 run, and then followed that up with a premier pitching performance against Nebraska, 5 2/3 and 1 run. Also owns a near immaculate inning against Purdue Fort Wayne this year. So he's been an impact player. He's got a fastball, a cutter, a change, and a curve, and he's not afraid to use them. Denner, the junior out of Bergen County, New Jersey. A big lefty. Not too tall, but a well-built 200 pounds at 6 feet. 3-4 on the year. You can see the difference in speed between Angelo Smith and Denner as he comes onto the mound. Angelo Smith likes to dink and dunk, paint the corners, sort of a Kyle Hendricks type of pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Denner, on the other hand, is not afraid to overpower you, but he does have a great mix of pitches. Obviously, as the lefty, same look from an arm angle, but a very different pitcher to deal with for these Indiana hitters. Tyler Dones, the experienced second baseman, comes up. Denner delivers. Inside corner, that's a called strike. An excellent pitch there, 80 miles an hour. Started him off with something soft and caught a little unbalanced there was Tyler Dones. Dones right on that one, however, sharply hit to the shortstop, and the Wolverines turn to Bertram, to Burton, to Stanton. An excellent play. Ranging to his right, Bertram cleanly fielded the ball. Very quick hands in getting it to his second baseman. And a clean turn by Burton at second. Even the speedy Tyler Dones isn't fast enough to outrun a turn that clean. The first pitch there to Tibbetts is going to be a ball inside, 1-0. The run did come home on that double play, so it is now 5-5. We're all locked up. Next pitch to Brock Tibbetts. Call strike. It's 1-1 on the first baseman. Tibbetts with his compact stance watches another one in and takes just low. 2-1. Zenner's gonna let up a single into right center. Tibbetts coming through for the Hoosiers. That's gonna bring home Matheson from third base. Really good piece of hitting, 95 miles an hour, going the other way. And that's what you like to see out of a guy like your first baseman, Brock Tibbetts. He's been so reliable. 270 average, 491 slugging, and now has his 35th RBI on the year. Now we see Evan Goforth, who's now batting .320 after starting the day 2 for 2 in relief of Max Johnson. Going to take that one low, and it goes to 1-1. That pitch is down the middle. That's the Denner changeup there at 80 miles an hour. Taken for a strike, 1-2. 2 outs here after the excellent double play turned by Bertram Burton and Stanton, and Denner delivers. Sent out towards the Indiana dugout. Count stays at 1-2. Goforth digging in, slightly open stance. 45-degree angle on the bat. Watches one outside. Count is 2-2. That one tipped and caught by Jimmy Overtop, and that'll be a strikeout. Unfortunately, Denner does allow 2 inherited runners to score. However, he does limit the damage with a double play and a subsequent strikeout. Indiana takes the lead, 6-5. Ty Bothwell back out for another inning after he was effective in the bottom of the 6th. He'll see Tito Flores, Riley Bertram, and Dylan Stanton to start. Velasquez and Burton after that. It's the stretch, and that entails taking me out to the ball game and Mr. Brightside here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Hopefully it can ignite a Wolverines rally here in the late innings. Blue signals he's ready to go. And throw down from Ceruto. We are ready to play some baseball. Tito Flores set to dig in. Number 22, a solid performer for Michigan all year. Tito Flores hitting .294. He's 1 for 2 today. Singled in the first. It was an RBI, sharply hit to right field. He's going to take a strike in there on the first pitch, 0-1. Also walked in the third and grounded into a fielder's choice in the fourth inning that saw Michigan score 3 runs. Flores takes high outside. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Bothwell delivers just outside. 2-1, despite an excellent frame by Peter Ceruto. Tito digging in, looking for his 49th hit on the year. That one right on the corner. Excellent pitch by Ty Bothwell. Count is even again, this time at 2-2. Flores is looking to get on base any way he can. All they need is a run to tie it up. They'd love more, and it starts with the leadoff man. That one on the outside corner. Flores thought about offering at it. Held back, but it didn't matter. Placement was perfect, especially for this Coon zone. Excellent pitch by Bothwell. So Riley Bertram will step up to the plate. Average is now dip below 260. Got just 1 home run, but he can get on base, as evidenced by his 41 hits. And he takes a rip of that first pitch, fouls it back. Bertram steps back in. Fouls another one back, and it'll go to 0-2. Bertram, the Zionsville, Indiana native. Showed up the most in that Dayton series back in March. Had a couple of quality games, reaching base 5 times and 4 times in the opener and the closer of that series. He pokes one out toward the netting above the Indiana dugout, and it stays 0-2. Bertram's been looking for his swing, although he has improved considerably on last year's output. Fouls another one back. Staying tough in this at-bat. Bothwell is not giving up the zone. He's looking for Bertram to make a mistake, maybe as Flores did, not identifying a borderline pitch. And he's not going to give in. Another strike in the zone. Fouled down the right field line and out of play. Bertram steps back in. Bothwell quickly delivers right on the corner. Bothwell strikes out his 3rd batter there, including the first 2 to start the inning here. Not giving up an inch to Riley Bertram. Would not throw him a ball, and eventually Bertram bit the dust. Stanton hits it. An infield single. Very interesting play. Deflected by the first baseman, Blake Tibbetts, to Tyler Dones, who was sliding himself from his second base position, flipped it over to the pitcher Bothwell, who was covering first. And the tie went to the runner, I believe, there, as Stanton was hustling down the line out of his lefty batter's box. That's probably what made the difference there. Mound discussion here. Indiana manager headed out. Jeff Mercer extending the conversation a little bit. He's going to head back to the bench. There are 2 outs. Dylan Stanton is standing on first base after his wacky infield single. The old 3-4-1 base knock. And Velasquez is up. Takes a fastball down the pipe, 93 miles an hour. That's going to be a strike 1. Velasquez takes high. It's 1-1. There are 2 out, but there is a runner on first. Velasquez, lefty on lefty here with Bothwell. He's going to fight it off, back left side. Velasquez is 2 for 3 today. Singled in the 4th and scored, and doubled in the 5th. Did not come all the way around, though, for the Wolverines. He waves. It's a wild pitch, but he is tagged out. Excellent breaking ball at 84 miles an hour from Bothwell. That unfortunately puts down the Wolverines. 3 strikeouts. Bothwell got the side. And we head to the top of the 8th. 6-5 Hoosiers. Out there again is the lefty Jacob Denner. Michigan has been playing great defense today, as they are down 1, but it could be much worse. Matt Fry has made 3 individual stunning plays at the hot corner, diving to his left twice and cleanly delivering the ball to Stanton at first. This guy cannot be phased. He backhands it. He'll go back, and he can track the ball. Short hops are not a problem for him. Matt Fry is displaying why he should be an all-defensive team selection. Of course, Riley Bertram and Ted Burton, the killer bees up the middle, really limiting the 7th inning rally for the Hoosiers with their clean double play turn. Really, really skillful on that turn, ranging to the left. Denner delivers. That's ball 1 to Peter Ceruto. Evens count at 1-1. Off-speed pitch on the outside corner. Denner working quickly, pounds the outside corner for a second strike. Ceruto hasn't taken the bat off his shoulder, but he's going to have to here the way Denner's controlling the zone. And he waves at a pitch high and outside, and that's going to be strike 3. 1 out on the board. Wind up and pitches fouled back by the speedy center fielder. Bobby Whalen, 1 for 4 on the day. 325 average, though. He rips it just foul. There's been a few with Bobby Whalen today that if they just snuck over the base, either on the third or first base side, he's looking at extra bases with his speed. Fortunately for him, and fortunately for the Wolverines, he has encountered a number of near misses. Reaches out on that one, pops it up. It's going to get into the Indiana bullpen. Bobby Whalen walking back from first base, thinking that might have dropped in. Staring at the bat, pounding his chest, giving a practice swing. Taps his chest, taps the bat to the plate. Denner's ready to go, and he delivers. Top of the zone, that's strike 3. Whalen might not have liked it. May have felt that he was rushed a little bit and fast pitched by Denner, who was sitting waiting for him to dig into the box. However, no relief from the combination of Jacob Denner and, of course, John Coons at the plate making that call. Hunter Jesse checks his swing, but he goes around, and that's going to be strike 1. Had him fooled a little bit with that off-speed pitch. Denner heats him up on the inside. A little bit of cut action on that one, 89 miles an hour. Jesse's going to poke it out, and Velasquez handles it. That's the third out. Very clean inning for Jacob Denner. He's going to send it to the bottom of the 8th with the Hoosiers at 6, Wolverines at 5. Ty Bothwell calmly strutting out to the mound. Third base coach having a conversation with the home plate umpire, perhaps about calling strikes on check swings. Indiana staying loose. Fatigue starting to set in, perhaps, late in this game. First pitch was 2 o'clock, now 4:50. Headed into the bottom of the 8th. It's been a characteristically high-scoring game for these Indiana Hoosiers and Michigan Wolverines. Expect the offensive fireworks, especially after last night, and turning it over to the number 2 starters here today. Ted Burton will be batting first for the Wolverines in this 8th inning. He has not reached base so far today. 2 strikeouts for him. Also had a sacrifice bunt that aided the 3-run 4th inning prior to the Matt Fry bases clearing double. If you haven't been with us, Matt Fry provided 3 of those runs in that 4th after Michigan scored 2 in the 1st, thanks to Clark Elliott, Matt Fry, and Tito Flores with an RBI single. Burton fouls the first pitch back. 0-1. Meanwhile, Indiana got their runs on the board with 2 in the first, 1 in the 5th, and 3 in the 7th. Their big players have been Hunter Jesse, Carter Matheson, and of course Matthew Ellis, who's managed to knock in 3 runs today. Burton takes outside. Count is now 1-2. And an excellent pitch there, painting the inside corner. Bothwell gets another strikeout. That's the 5th batter he struck out in a row. Now they send it back to the top of the order with Clark Elliott. Wolverines are hoping for a big lift from their star player here. He's 0 for 2, though he has been hit by a pitch and walked and scored both times. Takes one right in the outside corner. Nice pitch by Bothwell. He's so in command of his stuff today. He looks unstoppable, as he has for much of the past month. Elliott rips it over to Tyler Dones, and Dones, with a couple of clutches, gets it over in time. That's going to be the second out. Joe Stewart at the plate. Hasn't scored a run today, although he ripped a single in the 3rd and absolutely smoked a double in the 6th. Jeff Mercer has brought in relief for Ty Bothwell, who has been cruising. Ty Bothwell leaves after 2 2/3 and no runs given up. He was excellent in relief, clearly on top of his stuff. They're playing the Hey, Hey, Goodbye song here at Ray Fisher Stadium, but it's clearly a conscious decision by Jeff Mercer to bring in number 27, Rhys Sharp, right-handed sophomore for the Hoosiers. Bothwell was totally in command of the game, but they feel that bringing in the righty, maybe to play the matchup with righty hitter Joe Stewart, is an important move to make here, especially after Stewart was really the only Michigan hitter who tagged Bothwell in his at-bat against him in the 6th inning. Stewart standing off to the side in the on-deck circle, trying to time up the new pitcher. Rhys Sharp has been less than sharp in his 39 innings. 17 appearances and just 1 start. 8.24 ERA. Although perhaps that's a bit of bad luck on his part, as he sports just a .265 batting average against. However, he has struggled to limit the long ball, allowing 8 home runs. That's tied for tops on the teams, and 12 doubles, which is alone as the worst mark on the Hoosiers team. despite being tied for third in innings. Sharp comes in, toeing the mound, pitcher from the third base side of the rubber. Out of the stretch, kicks, and he floats an off-speed pitch outside. Stewart takes a hack at it, but misses at the off-speed pitch, fading away. And down, 80 miles an hour. Excellent pitch from Rhys Sharp. Number 5, Joe Stewart, 339 average, 63 hits. That'll be tops on either team. And he rips that one to third base, cleanly handled by Pine, and picked out of the dirt there. More of a short hop, but cleanly handled by first baseman Brock Tibbetts. An excellent throw by Pine. Excellent way staying down on that ball. You love to see the freshman connect for Indiana there. Denner back to the mound. And the defensive set remains the same for the Wolverines. Implications of this game are massive for the Wolverines. Right now they're tied in the loss column with both the Illini and the Hawkeyes, but dropping their 7th game would move them closer to Purdue and Penn State territory, especially with the upcoming schedule that the Wolverines have. Obviously got one more against Indiana. And we'll head out this week game against Xavier will be in Ann Arbor. Wright State will come on Wednesday. So 2 midweek games, and then out to Maryland and Rutgers in the next 2 weeks. And Josh Pine rips the first pitch there. That's going to be a double for Josh Pine. He saw one pitch from Jacob Denner and ripped it out to the right center gap. Stewart collected it and got it in time to limit it to 2 bases. But an excellent piece of hitting going the other way by Josh Pine. Hate to drop a close game like this with 2 scary teams like Maryland and Rutgers coming up on the schedule. They need Denner to keep that run off the board. Paints the outside corner. Excellent pitch. A little cut action. 87 miles an hour. Shift is on against Carter Matheson. Bertram playing on the other side of second base. Obertop makes an excellent stop. Tried to backhand it, but was able to trap it against the dirt and limit any further movement, especially by the base runners, which is the most important movement. Keeping him at second with 0 outs is a priority. Obviously, if you can get to third before there are 2 outs. And that's a swing by Matheson. That's going to hit the wall in right center. He's headed for second. And Pine is going to score. That pushes the lead to 2 runs. Carter Matheson unleashed a monster swing on that baseball. He lifted that one in the air, not a line drive, and it came down just to the right of the 8 on the Michigan right center wall. Neither Elliott nor Stewart had a play at it. The only positive is that it held up for so long that the runner was unsure of what to do, and it took off any chance at 3 bases. But the run comes home, and the score is now 7-5, Indiana. Ellis takes a strike on the inside corner. The count is 1-1. Ellis has seen his 5th appearance. He's just 1 for 2. He was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded, knocking in a run. He also walked and had a 2 RBI double in the top of the first. Waves there at an off-speed offering from Denner. Denner delivers low. Count goes to 2-2 on Matthew Ellis. Denner digs in, pitches. That one just a little low again. Count worked to 3-2, still no outs. Indiana led off the inning with back-to-back doubles from stars Josh Pine and Carter Matheson in those 3 and 4 spots, pivotal part of the lineup. Ellis looking to continue the run for the Hoosiers here. Ellis fouls back, stays alive. Pitch was over the plate, had to do what he had to do. Denner, nice little move. A little tough for the lefty, coming back to second base. Bertram was there to cover, but no play. Denner delivers. Ellis knocks it up the middle, but Bertram was positioned perfectly given the shift. Tosses it over to Stanton for the out. Runner does advance to third, going on contact, and with the infield position as they were, up the middle, of course you're going to take that base. Puts a runner on third for Tyler Dones, giving him an RBI opportunity. Dones waving a bat, putting it on his shoulder. Denner pitches, and that one is in. That's going to be an infield hit. That's going to be an error will be charged to Dylan Stanton. That was a swinging bunt with a whole lot of backspin. Stanton was playing in on the grass, and the ball just spun out of his reach. Any normal hit would have bounced towards him, but with that swinging bunt and all kinds of English on that baseball, he wasn't able to corral it, went off the glove, bounced back towards the middle of the infield, and he wasn't able to get the speedy Dones, even though he wasn't booking it out of the box. Tibbetts now, the first baseman. Strong righty. Tibbetts hitting 269 on the year after a 1-for-4 day. Did knock in a run in that 7th inning rally with an RBI single. Runners at the corners and 1 out. The count is 2-1. Foul ball down the third base line. That'll run it to 2-2. Obertop signaling to the infield here with the runners on the corners. 3-2 count now and 1 out. And he's going to cue that one into left center. That's getting down. Doan's heading for third, and he's going to make it. Held to a single is Tibbetts, but that's his 2nd RBI of the day. Solidly hit 84 miles an hour off the bat and perfectly placed in that outfield. That's going to be another run for the Hoosiers, putting them up 8-5. Solid piece of hitting in the full count by Brock Tibbetts. Runners are still at the corners. There is still 1 out. And now Evan Goforth is up 2 for 3 on the day, coming in as a substitution for Max Johnson, the struggling backup shortstop. Bakich is going to go to the pen after Denner gave up 4 base runners here. 1, maybe not his fault, given the quirky nature of the ground ball from Doans to Stanton. But Denner's day will be done. After 2 1/3, 2 runs, both earned, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, and 41 pitches, Jacob Denner will head to the bench with a smattering of applause. Unfortunately, could not keep the Wolverines in striking distance, although he did clean up a bit of a mess he inherited from Angelo Smith. Unfortunately, he was not able to continue that success through this 8th inning. And that's been where he's struggled this season. As he gets further into the game, that's why he was demoted from the starting rotation into the bullpen. But even in this shorter line of work, he's not able to blank the Hoosiers in his outing. It appears that the new arm is the right-hander Avery Goldensoff. Goldensoff the right, taking the mound, throwing some warm-up pitches. He's appeared in just 9 games, just 14 innings. However, he does have a 6.28 ERA, which is good for 5th on the team behind Chase Allen, Noah Renard, Connor O'Halloran, and Cam Weston, who we saw earlier today. Walked just 7 in those 14 innings, struck out 6. Has had a problem with extra base hits, including 3 triples, which is a little odd considering he's only given up 2 doubles. An interesting factoid to watch for. I take the doubles any day, but it appears that they just love taking an extra base when Golden Soft is on the mound. He's allowed a .381 batting average. That may be part of it, getting the rally going with some electrifying plays and then following it up with some RBI hits. Hopefully he can handle this situation here. He inherits a runner on first and third, and just 1 out from Jacob Denner. 2 runs have already crossed the plate in this inning, as we saw back-to-back doubles from Josh Pine and Carter Matheson, Matthew Ellis. And a first pitch from Evan Goforth. He blasts it. 1 hop off the wall. Stewart collects it, but it's going to be a double. Tippett's only able to advance to third base because of how much that ball was smoked. That thing went from 0 to 60 in about a tenth of a second, and it shot out to that left center gap. Stewart was quick in getting the ball and limiting Tibbetts to just third base. But really, even with a great jump, it was impossible to go anywhere on that pitch, except for the speedy Evan Goforth. Second pitch coming in to Ceruto. It's going to be high. And Golden Soft is out to 1-0 on the backup catcher. Pitch comes. Outer third of the plate. That's going to be a strike. Golden Soft towing the rubber. Runners on second and third. The infield is in, trying to prevent another run from crossing the board. It is 9-5 Hoosiers. Pitch comes in. It's low. 2-1. Ceruto's 1 for 4 on the day. Average is 109. He's a light hitting catcher, but he gets his job done behind the plate. Bertram with the infield in is going to whip it over to first. Stanton jumps and lands back on the base. Good work by Bertram. Not very sharply hit by Ceruto, but Bertram covered ground to his right, checked the runner at third base, and then whipped it over. And an excellent job by Dylan Stanton, keeping his cool, getting up in the air, snagging it, and coming back down. We're back to the top of the order. Bobby Whalen just 1 for 5 today after having a rough day yesterday as well. And the first pitch nearly hits him. He's just 2 for 10 in this series, however. Did have a double last game and has scored a run today. Whalen with the bat pointing back out. Obertop scoops it up. That's the ball. 2-0. Indiana has now racked up 16 hits on the day to Michigan's 10 and 9 runs to Michigan's 5. Whalen looking to extend that. He's going to pop it up. Obertop will not have a play. Lands in the first row of seats. Golden Soft looking in. That's going to go outside. Count runs to 3-1. 2 outs, but 2 on, and the Hoosiers still threatening. After 3 runs in the first 5 innings, they scored 3 in both the 7th and here in the top of the 9th. Whalen lines it down the right field line, but it's going to get into the Indiana bullpen. Whalen digging back in, closed stance. Bat pointing back out down third base line. A little feint by the runner at third. And he fouls off the pitch into the parking lot. Whalen back in the box, golden soft, looking to deliver. He closes his stance and kicks and delivers. Grounded right back up the middle, but Burton makes an excellent play. That ball was blistering at 99 miles an hour, but Burton handled it off the short hop. Out there at second base, perfectly positioned. Anywhere else than that's in the outfield for 2 runs. So the Wolverines dodge a bullet as much as they could do after giving up 3 runs. Danner gets 2 of them, last one's unearned, and we enter the bottom of the 9th with the Indiana Hoosiers at 9, Michigan Wolverines 5. So we head to the bottom of the 9th here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The daylight isn't dwindling, but the sun is dropping in the sky, creating some shadows on the field here in the late afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Ann Arbor. Temperatures touching 70. All the locals out. Happy to have the college students gone as of this week. And the good news for the Wolverines is that third baseman Matt Fry is the option coming up. He singled in the first, scored a run. He also had a bases-clearing double in the 4th inning. That was the last time that Michigan scored. His 3 RBIs there. Give him 37 on the season. Go with his 46 hits. He's been a pivotal addition after spending his last healthy season in North Carolina with the Davidson Wildcats. He's 2 for 4 on the day. And they're hoping that he can start the rally here against Rhys Sharp, who's back on the mound for the Hoosiers. Number 24 gets in the box, takes a healthy hack, and whiffs on a high fastball from Rhys Sharp. Fry, back foot at the back of the box. Watches a curve drop in there, 74 miles an hour. Little 12-6 action. Fry takes a rip at that one, and it's hit up in the air. Whaler's going to call him off out there. Jesse was there as well, high in the air. Both outfielders had time to get to it comfortably. And Whalen puts him away. Over top. 280 hitter. 390 on base, 460 slug, and a lot of clean statistics on the board for him right now. Love for them to get a little uglier in the positive direction here. Wouldn't mind a boost to that slugging percentage. Although the Wolverines need to stack hits here. They need to get a little rally going. One swing is not going to do it. They need to get runners on the base paths and maybe create some confusion on balls in play. Obertop rips one up the middle. That's going to be a single. Solid stroke for the catcher there. Stayed on that breaking pitch. And here comes Tito Flores. Tito Flores has been there all year when they needed a clutch hit. And they're hoping that he can continue the small push that Obertop has started here in the bottom of the ninth. 1 out, runner on first. Rhys Sharp on the mound. Of course, Rhys Sharp has an 8.10 ERA. So he's not exactly a lockdown closer for these Hoosiers. And you look to capitalize on that weakness. Flores watches and groove a 91-mile-an-hour fastball right at the top of the zone. Excellent pitch from Rhys Sharp. Tito with the high hands. Cocks the bat. Weight on his back foot. Ankle lifted. And he's going to take that one high. A little bit inside as well. Another fastball that he's seen. Hopefully he's getting used to the speed. Flores waiting for the delivery from Sharp. And the offering. He chops it out to short. Bobbled, and everyone's going to be safe. A costly error for the Indiana Hoosiers. They had at least one with the force at second, possibly two, although Flores got a great break out of the box and was headed for first base with impunity. But they had an opportunity to end the game right there. And instead, runners stand on first and second with 1 out for the Wolverines. Number 12, Riley Bertram, steps up to the plate. He's 1 for 4 on the day. They're going to need him to be 2 for 5 if they want to keep this thing going. Or a walk would be great too. All they need is runners on the base pass. And Riley Bertram has a track record of doing just that. First pitch, strike to the shortstop. Winds and goes. Drops a breaking pitch in there. He's got sort of a loopy pitch, loopy curve that he can take from the middle of the chest or even at eye level and drop it into the zone at just 75 miles an hour. It's an excellent weapon for Rhys Sharp. Count stands at 0-2. Bertram's back is against the wall. Tips away a fastball down and away, staying alive. And staying alive pumps through the stadium speakers. Offering is just out of the strike zone. Rhys Sharp could not have placed that much more perfectly. However, the frame by Ceruto was not enough. Bertram with his closed lefty stance, adjusting the belt. No batting gloves for the old school player. And he misses, but it's a wild pitch. The runner was on first, however. It was occupied, and he has no opportunity to take first base. However, that pitch got away from Ceruto after Riley Bertram swung through it. And had there been no runner on first base, that would have been a bases-loaded situation for the Wolverines. So that is 2 outs, and the Wolverines are down to their last one as Dylan Stanton steps into the box. He watches the loopy breaking ball enter the zone. excellent movement on that all day for Sharp. Count goes to 0-1. Sharp comes set. Kicks and delivers. And a swing and a miss for Dylan Stanton. Count is 0-2, second straight batter that he's gotten way out ahead of. And it's been difficult for these Michigan hitters against Rhys Sharp, who's brought his best stuff today. Stanton, of course, batting .356 on the year. 2 home runs. Wide stance. Ready for the 0-2 offering outside. Ceruto likes the placement of that pitch. So does Sharp. Hoosier bench doesn't like the call, but it was an inch off the plate. It is a 1-2 count, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Hoosiers lead by 4. And Sharp throws. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and that is the final from Ray Fisher Stadium. 9-5, Indiana. 16 hits for the Hoosiers, 11 for the home squad. 2 errors for Indiana, and just 1 for the home Wolverines. The win goes to Bothwell. Loss will go to Angelo Smith, who came in, got 2 tough outs, but struggled after that. And the save goes to Sharp with the 4-run victory for the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana goes to 21-25, and Michigan will go to 24-19, dropping another game in that Big Ten race. Fortunately, Iowa lost to Purdue earlier in the day, so they'll keep the pace with the Hawkeyes, who they lost 2 of 3 to back in April. And we'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow. Number 3 starters will be going for both the Wolverines and the Hoosiers for the rubber match. Couple of 4-run games, and we'll see if that culminates in a close one in the finale. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been WCBN 88.3 FM Ann Arbor. And good night from Ray Fisher Stadium.